Welcome to the Your Brilliant Difference podcast. I am so delighted that you have decided to be here. Thank you for your support and thank you for continuing to having the courage and confidence to inquire and investigate on how you can show up with your brilliant difference in your leadership and your business and for the impact that you're here to make. Specifically today on our episode, we're going to talk more about how you can use your brilliant difference to stand out and engage and attract your ideal clients. Specifically, we're going to talk about business differentiation. What does that mean? What does that look like? We're going to talk about how using your brilliant difference in your business helps you, one, show up more authentically and with integrity, but also helps you engage and attract with those ideal clients. I'm going to talk about benefits, 3 benefits you have by bringing your brilliant difference to your work and to your leadership. And then I'm going to offer you 3 reflection questions that you can walk away with to really start working on how you can show up in your brilliant difference and craft it in a way that really aligns with who you are, the value you're here to bring, and the impact that you're here to deliver to your clients and to your community. So let's talk about having a business differentiator. What is it and why is it important? So the importance of a business differentiator. First, it helps you identify what makes you different from your competition. Now, we're not just doing this for the sake of standing out from our competition, but really doing it from this essence of really understanding, what do your clients value? What does the market need? What is most relevant to them? But using that differentiation to really understand how you deliver value that is unique and different from your competition and others. It also helps you demonstrate the value that you deliver. What is this particular impact? What is that transaction to transformation journey that you are offering to your clients? So often I look at the product, the service that you're offering as that transaction, and the transformation in the journey from who they are today to who they're going to be and what they're going to have and what they're going to be able to do after they purchase your product, use your service. That transformation journey and the outcome of that, who they're going to be, what they're going to be able to do, and what they're going to have, that's part of that differentiation story. That's what's going to make you different from your competition, but it's also what's going to attract your ideal clients to you because they're looking for that particular transformation. In addition to it, your differentiator is something that's going to be very memorable. This memorableness can come from this place of being very personalized and unique to them. It is something that is tapping into a need or desire that they have. It could actually also be tapping into a hot button, a problem, an urgent need that they're wanting to address. And your business differentiator is tapping into that and helping them solve for that. I want you to also look at your business differentiator as something that is emotionally engaging. And so, even though we've got these products and services that you sell, and those are important, that's part of how you deliver the transformation. You want to look at your business differentiator as tapping into uh, not only the minds and intellectually rationalizing why they should buy you or choose your products and services, but there is this emotional touch, that there is this human connection and element that you are creating in your business differentiation, that there's something that you are tapping into them. There's this emotional nerve, or this emotional nerve that you're tapping into. One other element of this business differentiation, it is also something that when people see it, they recognize and know that it belongs to you. And so that there's this consistency in which you are showing up, and that when they see this, hear this, that they can then recognize that this is a representation of who you are, your brand, and your business. Now, one of the brands or businesses that has done a remarkable job in this, they've really transformed how we look at and engage with technology, has been Apple. Now, Apple, and we'll talk a little bit about their journey as an example of, really tapping into this idea of business differentiation. But also, I'm going to tie it to how it really showed up as their brilliant difference. And I'll talk more about how then you can use this as an inspiration point for your work and in your business and with your teams. Now, back in 1983, Steve Jobs took a 9-page ad in the New York Times, and it was to launch the new computer they called Lisa. And it really didn't strike a chord with anyone, other than if you were a really tech geeky savvy, maybe worked for NASA, it intrigued you. You were like, oh, I'm all over this. But for the rest of us, it wasn't that interesting. And unfortunately, shortly thereafter, Steve Jobs had left Apple and he was fired. And so that campaign didn't have the impact that he so desired it wanting to have. Now, fast forward 14 years later, Steve Jobs is back in his seat at Apple. And instead of featuring a product that was going to change the game in how we view technology, he decided to launch a philosophy. And that was Think Different. That campaign came out, and that resulted in not pitching product, not pitching any iPads or iPods or any of the services. But what it actually started, what it was selling was this big idea that there are people who think differently. And as a result, if you're someone who thinks differently, that you are going to be interested, you're going to recognize yourself in seeing yourself as someone who thinks different, just like we do in this organization. And he really got it. He got it that people weren't buying the product, they were buying and I'll say it wasn't only him. I'm going to say it was him and his team. And I think he had to be sold on this idea as well. But eventually the team collaboratively, as they worked on this campaign, realized that people weren't buying the product. They were buying the transformational impact, this product that was going to facilitate this transformation of going from who they were to who they see themselves being and becoming, which were people who thought differently. They think different. Now, if you had invested in Apple stock back in 1995 when this campaign had come out, to today, you would have had a 17,000% rate of return or earning on your share. That's the transformational impact of when you embrace a business differentiator. And I will talk more about how that aligned to who they were and their brilliant difference. And so when we think about this business differentiator, it does tap into a brilliant difference that an organization's here to make, also the individuals that are collaborating in this organization to deliver on that. And we can see that in the Apple example that as an organization, they decided to be an organization that thought differently. This became their North Star, their mission statement. And it was something that their employees could rally behind. It was also something us as consumers on the other end could rally behind. So it was again the organization really thinking through, really putting together a philosophy, a big idea that could we be people who think differently as their brilliant difference? Could they also as team members and employees of that organization be team members that think differently, and us as consumers? And what they created was these incredible products as a result of it. It allowed them to challenge the status quo of what we thought about on how we listen to music, how we, subscribe to music. And then all of a sudden, the iPod comes out, and we've got, the deck of cards device with, 5,000, 10,000, your entire music library, within your pocket. Eventually we had the iPhones, and all of a sudden, it became our, our second brain. It's there with our calendar, our email, and all of a sudden, they've really transformed how we work, how we live, how we connect, communicate, and engage. And so that was the result of this idea of think different. It was their brilliant difference. It was what their employees and team rallied behind, but it was also who we became because we decided to engage and purchase those kinds of products. This becomes really important when I think about the work around your brilliant difference, that this is not only a marketing campaign. Yes, it started as a marketing campaign for Apple, but it became also a North Star and a mission statement, something that people can get behind. And I want you to look at your brilliant difference as that. As that, what we know today is 85% of employees, and this is studies done by Gallup across the US, are not engaged. That means 15% are actively engaged. So there's a whole lot of people that are working in your organizations and on your teams that are coming in either with very lackluster ambition and desire, maybe just completely bored, or they could just be kind of, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and just getting by the bare minimum. That's not the kind of workplace you want. You want a workforce that is engaged, enthusiastic, can't wait to, dig their teeth into a project or a problem. What we also know is that your employees, the workforce today, are looking for more meaning in their work. 70% of employees are looking to derive their purpose through the work that they do. That means that the 40 to 60 hours that they're spending on their job, they're looking at their personal purpose as a way to actualize on that purpose through the work that they do. That means that you have a great environment where you have an opportunity to really take your purpose statement, your purpose as an organization, and really connect it and marry it to your employees. Like, how cool would that be? All of a sudden, that 85% disengaged workforce becomes uberly engaged because they can see the connection between who they are, their purpose, and how they can live that out and be it through the work of doing the work in your organization. How cool would that be? Another recent study that I had read was around the fact that even employees, if it means taking a pay cut, but they can get an ideal job that allows them to live out their purpose, use their skills, bring their brilliant difference, guess what happens? They're willing to take a pay cut for that dream job. They are willing to take a pay cut for that dream job. And so I want you to think about this. Like, money is important. Yes, it pays the bills. It puts the roof over our head. It gives us, enjoy the car, the vacation, the hobbies that you might be doing. All of those things are important. But as people, we need connection, we need meaning, we need purpose. We need to know, you also have these beautiful gifts, these talents and skills. They're meant to be used. They're not meant to sit idle and, just kind of in the background. You jump in, let's get to work. Let's do this thing. That's what they're here for. And so when I think about your brilliant difference, as it's an individual brilliant difference, there's a business brilliant difference. And we'll go back to the Apple example. It started out as a marketing campaign and became a rallying cry for them, but it also became their brilliant difference. It was who they were, it was the impact that they got to deliver, and it was who we all became because they were an organization, a company that think different. They thought differently. And that's the opportunity here, opportunity for you in your business, but also then how do you get your team involved? So one of the things that I think about is there was a particular organization that I worked with where we really wanted to tap into their business's brilliant difference. And their business's brilliant difference, we coined it as trusted in innovation. They were in the media space. They had spent 30 years and really had a legacy of and a reputation with their clients and within the industry that they could be relied upon and trusted. But what we were seeing in media was that things were changing. The way media was being consumed in the past, those venues and channels were starting to dissipate and new opportunities were starting to emerge. And so there was this idea of trusted innovation, sticking with their legacy and the old, but also embracing and being pioneering and looking at the new ways of what their clients are going to need and want, and also what could they as an organization really stand behind. And we went through this process with their leadership team and with their entire employees, so that everyone had an opportunity to put in their voice, their vote on where they see the organization's brilliant difference. And it was a beautiful process. As a result, the next level down, we actually started working on their individual brilliant difference stories. So every team member had an opportunity to identify how does their brilliant difference impact and add value to the organization's brilliant difference of trusted innovation. And each and every person got to name their brilliant difference and create a story that helped them identify and understand how they were uniquely wired to bring their purpose, to bring their skill set, their expertise, and their brilliance to add impact and value to the organizational's brilliant difference. How cool is that? And so you can imagine the impact of engagement, of investment, of enthusiasm, of how they were showing up in the workplace, how they're engaging with their clients because they knew that they had a reason of being, a reason to add value, and how they were showing up. There was a particular example with one of the leaders who managed the higher end client relationships, and one of the things that he talked about was he had a situation where they had a customer that things didn't go as planned, and we all know often things cannot go as planned. That you might, something might have fallen through the cracks, and you hope to deliver optimal client experiences, but every now and then we know hiccups can happen. And particularly for this client, there was a big hiccup, and they were really upset, and so they had sort of this cooling off period, but they decided to spend some time with this client, and they really started to have conversations around, what were they looking forward to, what was coming up. And it just so happened that this person's brilliant difference was reimagined future. And so his role in the organization was to help their clients reimagine the future. And that reimagined future was going to contribute to the overall mission and goals and strategy that the organization had. They ended up solving and really working through the little hiccup that they had with the client, and the client ended up investing and doing more business with them. And this is what happens when people have the permission to be themselves, to bring their brilliant difference. Many people aren't even clear or can articulate what it is how they add value, which perspective and point of view that they bring to the table that is going to move the needle on a project or a process. Even having people aware of that, all of a sudden it's like, this light bulb goes off. Like, oh, this is how I do it. This is what I do. But we need to go through this exercise of how to identify, clarify, and really articulate a brilliant difference, and then to connect it to the organizational's brilliant difference. So having a brilliant difference helps you be more consistent as an organization. It helps you align your team to the business mission. As we saw with the example of Apple, it was something that not only their employees rallied behind, we as consumers rallied behind. And, 1995, fast forward to 2024, where we are today, and they're still a preeminent organization leading the force when it comes to technology advancements. And so it pays to really do this hard work, this labor that we need to really engage in a more purposeful and mission based vision. At the end, profit does come. But we've got to really look at that the purpose, your people behind it, that then translate to that profit. Um, it also, when we think about it, it helps your teams and your leaders really engage at an even deeper level, because that now they're personally invested. There's an intimate connection between who they are, the skills that they bring to the table, and the value that that adds and the impact that it delivers to the organizational goals and overall vision. And so all of a sudden now engagement, we have an opportunity to not just 2x engagement, but 10x engagement, because they're not only are their fingertips on their keyboard and, them on their teams or in their meetings engaged, but their heart is invested. And now we exponentially have an opportunity to add that value. And then finally, it's not only about, it's this opportunity that we all have to engage your clients in that bigger vision, in that bigger mission, that they too become champions and cheerleaders for the work that you're here to do. So I want you to, I want to leave you with these three questions. And these three questions are based on what I like to call our brilliant difference value triangle. And our brilliant difference value triangle really asks three questions. And these are the three questions that I want you to be asking yourself to identify and name your brilliant difference. Number one is, who are you? Your brilliant difference defines who you are. The second is, what is the impact you deliver? That is the second question that your brilliant difference answers. And the third is, who do others get to be because they chose to work with you, because they chose to engage with you, because they chose to buy your products and services? Now we'll take Apple again. So if you buy an Apple product of any sort, you might have all of them. So think different. The product, the services, it is who Apple is when we think about that, though, that brilliant difference. It was the impact that they delivered. They delivered solutions and products that got us to think differently about technology and how we work and how we live and how we engage and how we communicate. It also translated in who we got to be as consumers of those products. Because if you're someone that carries an Apple product, you too also identify as someone who thinks differently. And that's the power of having this beautiful, brilliant difference, really creating one, a more meaningful purpose and mission for your organization, two, connecting to the hearts and minds of the talent that is around your organization, helping them be viscerally motivated and enthusiastic to participate because they understand how their brilliant difference impacts and adds value to the brilliant difference of the organization. And then finally, having us as consumers, people who are going to purchase, enjoy, and relish in the benefits of the solutions that you have to provide, that we too can also get behind your brilliant difference. So thank you for tuning in. As you walk away from this episode, we talked about the importance of business differentiation. We walked through what a business brilliant difference is. We talked about how Apple is a fantastic example that we can all really relate to really identify what it means to embrace your business differentiation and use it and tie it to your brilliant difference. And then I'm leaving you with those three questions to ponder on, helping you, excavate what is your brilliant difference. Question number one, who are you? Question number two, what is the value or impact you deliver? And question number three, who do others get to be because they choose to work with you? So thank you so much for tuning in. I would love to hear what topics, what questions are top of mind for you, and what's most important and pressing that you're struggling with that we can talk about here on the Brilliant Difference podcast. So please pop into the link below in the show notes where you can have an opportunity just to inform us so we can build our episodes around what is most priority and most important to you. So thank you again for tuning in on the Your Brilliant Difference podcast as we help you rise above all of the noise out there to stand out and shine in your brilliant difference. Bye for now.